If you like this video, please hit subscribe and like the video too if you enjoy it. So, as we all know, there's been a quarantine that's been going on around the world as far as gyms go. Some areas have opened up, like South Carolina, but here in North Carolina, just over the border, gyms aren't supposed to be opening up for another, I think it's 4 to 5 weeks, which obviously has led to a lot of outrage, and there's even some kind of gyms suing the state. I'm not totally sure about what it's all about, but needless to say, a lot of gyms are trying to get back open, as they should. If swimming pools are allowed to be open, then gyms definitely should be allowed to be open. But anyway, I want to come and talk to you about how you should train after this quarantine. I've had a lot of layoffs, not purposely, but due to injury over the years. 3 major ones: breaking my spine, tearing my tricep tendon, tearing my pec tendon. And from each one of those injuries, I learned a few important lessons. A couple of these lessons I had to learn twice, which is unfortunate, but some people are hard learners, myself included. The biggest piece of advice I can give you is when you get into the gym, the first couple of sessions are gonna not feel as good as you want them to be, right? Especially if you haven't been able to do great training at home. But within less than 2 weeks, you're probably going to be feeling very strong. You're going to be gaining your size back very, very quickly. In fact, you're going to be amazed. If this is the first real layoff you've ever had to take, you are going to be absolutely shocked at how quickly the muscle comes back. In fact, it can come back so quickly that that in itself can cause issues for you. For instance, when I broke my spine, I regained 50 pounds in less than 2 months. And I mean muscle and water, but not fat. And that actually led to me getting atrial fibrillation because I was running through the mountains with an occlusion mask on, which hinders your breathing. And I just overworked my system. The weight loss from breaking my spine, the surgery, the weight regain, and then finally running through the mountains with that mask on. It was just all too much. And that was a setback, to say the least, because it required me to be in a heart ward for a week, 4 weeks of medication, and then I needed cardioversion to be put back to normal. So that wasn't a fun time. Needless to say, lots of checkups afterwards, and everything is fine to this day. I mean, that was nearly 10 years ago now. But back to my point. Your strength is going to come back really, really quickly. Your size is going to come back really quickly. You're going to see a lot of posts on social media about, I just hit my all-time best lift. And these people are going to only be back in the gym for a few weeks after they were out for a couple of months. This is a big, big mistake. The chance of injury is enormous because you gotta think about it. Let's say you've been training at home and all you've been doing is push-ups for your chest, right? Nothing basically. But you've kept a good amount of size. You get back in and normally you use, let's say, 100-pound dumbbells for your presses. You're down at 70. Okay. Guess what? Those 70 pounds are way, way more, and more importantly, a different type of tension on your body than those push-ups. So you're going to create an adaptive response from using those 70-pound dumbbells. In your head, you're going to be like, well, in the past, I've used 100-pound dumbbells, so nothing beside those 100 pounds will get me growing. It's not true. That's not what your body is currently adapted to. Your body is currently adapted to doing push-ups. So 70 pounds, in reality, probably 50 pounds would do it, as the form is so much different on a dumbbell press than a push-up. It's going to create an adaptive response, and it's going to make you grow. So take it step by step. Don't try and get back to your maximal strength as quickly as possible. Rather, try and creep your way back up in strength, keeping the repetitions higher, and see if you can't get back to your previous muscle mass using less weight than you needed to get there in the first place. Sounds kind of counterintuitive, doesn't it? Because a lot of people have a strength to muscle relation in their mind. They're like, well, I can only be this size if I'm lifting this number of pounds. There's some truth to that, but not full truth. And I'll tell you something. It's like a balloon that's been blown up one time. once that muscle has been stretched, it doesn't take nearly the same effort to fill back that balloon once the air's come out, and the muscle is the same way. Those muscle cells will be there. All you need to do is stimulate the tissue. It'll regain nitrogen, regain water, it'll swell back up. You're going to be absolutely amazed at what happens. But you got to be really careful. You take it step by step, because if you just jump straight back into it, it's going to be bad. There's a good chance, and several of you will get injured if you do that. Tendons, muscle ruptures, all these little injuries, using weights that in the past wouldn't have been dangerous for you. You've got to think about it that if you worked out for 5 years and the longest you ever had off was, let's say, a week, and now you've had 1, 2, maybe by the end of it, 3 months off, you should be taking exactly as long, if not longer, to work yourself back up. So if it's been a month since you've done any serious weight training, you should take at least 1 month to build your way back up in the strength ladder to where you previously were. Honestly, 2 to 1 would be a better ratio. So if you took 2 months off, now you're going to need 4 months to get back to where you were. Oh, 4 months, it sounds so long. Well, think about it. You're going to regain all the muscle that you've got. You're going to get back to your previous strength. But most importantly, you're going to stay injury-free. And that is the key to a long, successful career in the fitness world. That's it. It's who can keep training hard the longest without getting injured. That's really what it all boils down to. Nobody really thinks about it like that, but it's really the truth. Every repetition, every set, every exercise does more damage than just muscle damage, which creates the adaptive response to regrow muscle. It also creates tendon, joint, ligament stress, unless we're talking really high reps, which most of you probably won't be doing. There are other ways where you can really rebuild yourself well. BFR training is great if you do it correctly. But the calves, I mean, I don't suggest people just wrap knee wraps around their legs and arms. I used to do that. I did not find that productive. Now with the proper cuffs, where you get the correct pressure for the full occlusion, and then you use 70 to 80% of that, then you use the rep range like in the studies, the rest periods. If you do it all like that, it can be very productive, yes. But that in itself, it's like a total new type of training to learn. So in conclusion, just go step by step. Don't be that person who is on Instagram shouting about how they just lifted their heaviest bench press ever, but you've literally got back in the gym for 2 or 3 weeks after 1 or 2 months out. Because you'll probably be making a post in a couple of weeks about your pec being torn, bicep being torn. There's all kinds of injuries. Never mind chronic wear and tear. You have to look at it as a marathon, not a sprint. So this time off was actually good, because you probably would never take this long off by yourself. But now you were forced to. Now break back into it carefully. If you were a professional, even weightlifter, powerlifter, you would know that you wouldn't just take a long layoff from the gym and then go back to your normal regular weights. So don't do the same for your bodybuilding or fitness in general. Take it step by step. You know, there's no rush. And everything that you do in the gym, which you weren't doing for the previous month, is going to create an adaptive response, which will result in growth. Don't forget that. So take it easy, guys, step by step. Thank you.